Hey everyone, this is Katie with the Different Ability podcast, and I have a returning guest. Everyone, welcome Billie. I'm so excited for her to be back. She has so many updates for us, and I reached out to her like a week ago and was like, "Hey girl, you want to come back on? Because I really want some updates on what you're doing." And she's here. So welcome, Billie. Thank you for being here.
I'm so excited to be back. I'm not gonna lie. This is like one of my favorite podcasts that I've been on, so I'm super glad to be back.
Thanks. That's so nice. I'm super excited. So let's minimally recap what we talked about last time. We talked about different abilities and all that. Now go back to that episode. I will link it below in the description. But why I really wanted you back today is because you have some really exciting news on a product that you've been working your heart out on coming here soon, right?
Yes, we're launching officially February 1st. So I did not go back and listen to the podcast episode. I should have listened to that again because I don't remember what we all talked about.
It was like
But
you said that it was going to be like hopefully like late last year, but you didn't know either. You're like
yeah,
things could be crazy, and I'm like, we'll give an update. So yeah.
right. So, for those of you that did not listen to the last episode or haven't listened to it recently, I created a product called the Repaint Tray, which is a reusable and eco-friendly paint tray liner and lid. So it completely eliminates the need for the plastic paint tray liner altogether. And I've been working on it for the last few years, and I was hopeful to release it by the end of 2023, and that ended up not happening because we hit some hiccups with the manufacturing and shipping because it just takes so long to kind of go through that whole process. But we got some good news, and I will be getting my inventory into our warehouse here like in a week. And so it's January 15th right now. So it should be there by next week, and then we'll start shipping out all of those pre-orders. But I think the biggest update that I have for everybody is that at the beginning of December of 2023, I had the opportunity to go pitch to Lowe's Home Improvement, and it was an incredible experience. And, long story short, Lowe's put in a purchase order. And so I'll be able to distribute my repaint tray in Lowe's home improvement stores like across America sometime in 2024. I'm
Okay,
so
okay.
stoked.
This is amazing. And I watched all of this go down like via Instagram, okay? And I was like hearting, heart loving, liking,
Yeah.
like, go girl, you got this. Like so excited. But you did rush over it. We have a little time here. Can you kind
Yeah.
of explain how did that come about? Like give
Yeah.
me some info on that.
So Lowe's has a pitch competition. It's a global pitch competition that they do, I think, once or twice a year. And it's called Lowe's Into the Blue. And essentially, you put in an application, you showcase your product, you have to submit a short video talking about who you are, what your product is, and why Lowe's should pick you. So I went through the whole, move and groove. I submitted my application, put in my video, and I had also shared that video on social media because I thought, the more traction I can get with this, the better. And the more eyes I can have on this video, the better, because you never know who you might know or who they might know that might know somebody higher up in Lowe's that can share this video along, because I am in a sea of people in this application. I mean, it's global. And, I will never forget when I got that, acceptance email or the confirmation email that I made it to their in-person pitch competition, because I had just placed an online pickup order for Lowe's because we were doing some home improvement projects and DIY projects. So I had submitted this order for pickup the next day, and, like, almost immediately I got this email, but the email said "Congratulations" in the subject line, and I ignored it because I thought it was my pickup order confirmation email. But I'm like, "Well, that's weird. Why on earth would they say congratulations for a pickup order? Usually it's like, thanks for your order."
Yeah.
And so I went and opened the email, and it said, "Congrats, you made it to the Lowe's Into the Blue pitch on December 5th. We're so excited to have you. Please respond to this email so we know that you've accepted and that you're coming." And I freaked out, and I immediately like started crying, and my husband was putting our daughter to bed, and I just like bolted into her bedroom like, mid bedtime routine. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I made it." And my husband jumped up and he's like, "What?" Because the funny thing is his reaction was so over the top because I had just bought a lottery ticket. And it was like that night they were announcing like who the lottery winners were. And I have never bought a lottery ticket before. I thought, I bought it on a whim. I'm like, I'm just gonna buy one for fun, which I won $12. Like, woohoo. But
Woohoo!
so when I like bolted in and it's like, I got it, my husband thought I won the lottery. And
Oh,
in
but
the
you
moment,
did in a different
yes,
way.
in a different way, I won the lottery, and he's like, "You won?" And I was like, "Wait, no, different thing. I made it to Lowe's into the blue." And then he was, like, equally excited, and, my daughter is 4 years old, and she, like, jumped up on the bed, and she's like, "Mom, I'm so proud of you." And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, like, thank you." It was just, like, this really cool moment to see that happen because she's been well, 1, my husband's been watching me too, but my daughter has been, like, watching me, go through this whole thing, and she's been, like, wanting to be a part of it, and for her to just, like, validate that in her little four-year-old self was just, like, oh my gosh, so rewarding, and I was like, "I am on the right path. I'm doing the right thing."
Oh, it's making me cry. Uh,
I know, me too.
that is the sweetest thing, and that's so see, I'm glad I asked because that's more of a story than like,
Yeah,
I get it. That is so awesome. And again, congrats. Like that,
thank
first of
you.
all, just that next step is like, oh my gosh. And that's a scary step to take. Like you're putting yourself out there. And that's scary in itself. So that's amazing that you were chosen. Oh my gosh. Now, can you take us through the next steps? Like, how did that all go down on
Yes.
December 5th?
Yeah. So essentially, I worked for, oh man, weeks putting together my pitch deck and just trying to figure out like what information do I need to have in there? What do they want to see? What do they not want to see? And like, I've been a part of a lot of pitch competitions, but this one was different because there was so much at stake and they were looking for different information than what you typically put in your traditional pitch deck. And, because, the regular pitch competition, you're putting in the general information of like, who is your market? How do they like to buy and all this stuff. But Lowe's wants the nitty gritty. They're like, okay, what is your manufacturing price? What is your shipping cost? Where does it come into port? Where are you fulfilling your items? Like all this type of stuff. And so for me to put together this pitch was just so nerve wracking because I was so worried I was going to like miss something or not put it together right. And, so I flew out on December 4th, the day before the pitch competition, got there, we figured out where the building was, kind of got things, collected. I got my samples in, and, I think I maybe slept, like, 2 hours that night. Like, I could not sleep at all. I just kept, like, running through my pitch in my head over and over and over again, and I was like, "I'm never gonna sleep. Like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do right now." And I probably woke up, like, way too early too, but essentially we got everything together. I had my business partner, Mike, with me, and we walk over to the Lowe's building, and at the Lowe's pitch competition, I mean, there's hundreds of people. There's hundreds of other people that are at this competition that have brought their products from all over the world. Like, I'm not kidding. I met somebody from India. I met somebody from New Zealand. Like, they came from all over to this pitch competition hoping that Lowe's is gonna sign a deal with them. And the hard part is like you could go to this competition and walk away with nothing. And so
Mhm.
we saw people that had traveled from all over the world that walked away with nothing. And I'm
Mhm.
like, that sucks. But at the Lowe's pitch competition, they have, it's like a vendor fair. So it's all these different booths that are different departments within Lowe's corporate that they talk about sustainability or their packaging, how their online platform works, and all these different type of sectors. And so it gives you the chance to kind of interview all these booths, talk about what your product is, and then it's also kind of like they are the eyes and ears of what some of the products are there, so they can
Yeah.
kind of like push it up the chain and say like you need to be watching for this one or watch out for this one. And all the other inventors that were there were very, very hush hush. Like they were hiding their products and people were like, black suits and tie and very formal and like even rolling suitcases around to hide their products. And here I had walked in, I had paint splatter shoes, I had like bright green pants, and like I like had these big dangly earrings because one of the things in the email that they sent is they're like, dress for the part, like dress to your product, what is your role? And I was like, all right, I'm going all out. And the cool thing is people noticed. Like people noticed when I walked into the room and that was really like one, I was freaking out internally because I was like, don't look at me. But also at the same time, I'm like, you see me and you're like curious who I am. And so when I walked around to some of these booths, they kind of casually asked like, "Well, what is your product?" And I would explain it to them, and they're like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of cool." And I was like, "Why am I hiding this? Like,
Yeah.
I'm so close to being on the market right now. Like, there's no reason for me to hide this. Nobody's gonna beat me to the market at this point if they're gonna steal my idea." So I'm like, you know what? Let me go and get it. So I went back to my bag. I grabbed my repaint tray. I walked back into the vendor fair, and it was just like all these head turns. They're just like, "Phew." They're like, "What is that? I wanna see that." And so people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, this is amazing." And one guy that worked for Lowe's, he's like, "If they don't cut a deal with you, 1, that's stupid, but 2, what's your website? Because 'Cause I'm still gonna buy one."
Oh my gosh,
And I was like,
yes.
"Okay, cool." And it was just, like, really amazing to talk to all these people, and they saw this and thought, like, "This has to be on the shelves at Lowe's." And I was like, "Okay, okay, I know I'm in the right spot."
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that you went there totally authentically you. And you went in there and you were being yourself. You were being different. You didn't have a suit and tie and a briefcase hiding everything. And I think that's so awesome. Now, can you explain, first of all, where was this? Where did it happen?
This was in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, so you did have to fly and actually like
Yeah.
that's a cost on you, correct?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I
so
still
like
had to
you
pay for my flight and Airbnb and everything. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so then you get there. By the way, was it really weird to fly with all your repaint trays? Did they like get weird with you being like, "What are these things?" When you
Well, I didn't put them, like, as a carry-on
Oh,
because I
okay.
was worried that they were gonna, like, see the metal tray as, like, a weapon or something and take
True.
them away.
True.
So I checked a suitcase with, like, 5 or 6 paint trays in it, and I was like, "Literally, this suitcase is just filled with paint trays right now."
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
hoping that it doesn't get lost because it better not. Like,
Yes, I
for real.
know.
Did you put an air tag in that thing? Because I would've. Like,
I should have, but no,
yeah.
because with Delta, they scan it, and so you can, like, see on the app, like, where your bag is
Mm,
at.
I
So I
still
was,
don't
like,
trust them.
religiously following it. I was like, "Okay,
Yep.
my bag is on the plane. Good."
Yes, that's awesome. No, it's funny, I had to ask because one time I was bringing a gift to a friend when I was traveling, and it was a really cool cutting board, like, that I got made, like, custom made, and they searched me hard because 'cause they're like, "What is this dense thing in here?" And I'm like, like, 'cause it was just a carry-on, and I'm like, this is weird, but it's, a walnut cutting tray, like, cutting
Walnut.
board," and they're like, "What?" And then they opened it all up and they literally goes, "God, it's beautiful." I'm like, "Oh." Like, I was like, "Of course it is, it's a gift," she's laughing and I'm just like, "I will never travel like that again because it was probably a little suspicious." So,
Yeah.
okay, so you flew down there, and then how many people did they pick? Out of all the how many people were there, and how many people did they pick?
I'm not sure the exact numbers. All I know is that it was a global competition, and I think the amount of people that were there at the competition itself was, like, I don't know, at least 150, maybe
Okay.
200 people.
Yeah.
And so they separate you by category. And so I was obviously pitching in the paint department. And so there was, I think, 12 or 15 groups of people that were in that paint category. And I only had met one other group that was there that was in the paint department, but they were not pitching it I'm not even exactly sure what their product was. It was more of like a plaster type patch type deal,
Mm,
but they still fell into that category. But everything else was separated by lumber or by home decor or by garden or whatever it was. So I was really only kind of competing against my category.
that's still a lot of people though. Like,
Yeah.
and even being there with all the other people, it's just I give that's so cool that Lowe's does that. That's awesome
Yes.
that they do that. We don't have a Lowe's up here, like,
Oh.
anywhere near me. Really, we don't. Like, I mean, it's I'd have to go search and figure out where one is, but no, I'm not gonna name what we have up here. Talk about it
Yeah.
later. So anyways, that's so awesome. So then you went through can you explain a little bit of how the actual, like, you walking in, your feelings, the competition, that whole thing, how did that go?
That was the scariest part. Like, oh my gosh. So before the competition, they send you an email and they don't even put your name on it. It's literally just like this you're separated by a certain code or number so that way other people don't see what your name is or your business name so people aren't like, looking you up and seeing what you have. So you had to find yourself on this like mass list of what your confirmation number was and where you were going to go and what time you were pitching. And so I was pitching about like 10 o'clock in the morning and I actually have like the tickets right here that I'll show in a second. But um, so I go to the first pitch. I think I'm pitching to like 5 or 6 people. It was a very small room. I go through my whole spiel. I could see them kind of nodding heads. They asked some questions, and I was like, I can't tell if they're totally convinced or not, but we'll see. And kind of the head lady that was in charge of it, and she's like, yeah, I think there's something here. So I think I feel good about pushing you forward. And I was like, okay, okay, like try not to let the excitement
Yeah.
like burst out and
Like,
like,
be cool, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, we're like,
"Oh, sounds
yeah,
great."
great. And how they do their competition is it's in the form of tickets. Like literally it's like the golden ticket from Willy Wonka type thing. And so that first pitch round I think is the most important one because they can push you one of two ways. Either they can give you a blue ticket, which will push you to pitch on or pitch again for either for their in-store purchases to be on the shelves, or they give you a white ticket, and that white ticket is to be just online on
Okay.
Lowe's.com. And so she gave me the blue ticket, which meant I was going to go on to pitch to be on the Lowe's shelves. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, perfect. Like, because I really emphasize, like, I need to be in stores. Like, this
Mhm.
is not an online purchase. This is an in-store purchase because people are going in to buy their paint and then they're also going to pick up their supplies while they're there.
Mhm.
And so she gave me this blue ticket. So
Oh
I, d-
my
unfortunately, you
gosh.
can't see with the podcast, but
It's fine, we'll
it's a
figure
blue
it out.
ticket, and it gives you the room number and the time that I was pitching. And so the time was 11:10. And so I thought, great, I'm gonna have time to kind of like debrief with my business partner, go over my pitch again, see like what I should change or emphasize or whatever. And then I looked up and I saw that they were escorting me down the hallway to my next pitch right away. And I was like, I don't have time to
Okay.
debrief or revisit my pitch. Like, here we go. So I walk into the next room, and this one I felt a little bit better about because it's just one guy. And I was like, okay, it's less people. Like, we're just going to have it more casual, just be a conversation. And he definitely made it that way. Like, he was super chill about it, was kind of asking questions through the whole thing. And he even apologized. He's like, sorry, I keep interrupting your pitch. Like, I know you've got this down, but,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, no problem. So we get to the end of the pitch, and he's, I could tell it was the same type of thing. He's like shaking his head, yes, but he wasn't giving me like concrete answers. And all of a sudden, he's just like, yeah, I think this is good. So, yeah, I think we'll put in some orders. And he said it so casually like that, and I was like, "What does that mean?" And
Right.
so I was like, "So what happens next? Like, am I gonna go on to pitch a third round or, like, where do I go?" And he's like, "No, we're done." And my heart sank when he said that because the way he said it, I thought he was saying like, "No, you're done. You're going home. Like,
Like, you
that's
suck.
it." And I
Yeah.
was yeah, exactly. That's how I felt. And I like looked at my business partner Mike with like the biggest eyes like, "What do I do, Mike? What do I do because I am not leaving this room until I have a purchase order." Like
Yeah.
and Mike was looking at me and he was like, he's like, cut, stop. Like, he's like, it means that we're done as, and he's putting in purchase orders. Like, you got the deal. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Like, here we go.
Oh my gosh.
And so he gave me
The golden
a gold
ticket.
ticket.
Oh my
And
gosh.
typically, if you get the gold ticket, that means you're going to pitch on for a third round. But he liked the product enough that he's like, "You don't need to go on and pitch again." He's like, "You can if you want more practice," but he's like, "You really don't need to because I'm gonna put in purchase orders and you'll be in Lowe's stores online and in the stores." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay. Like this is incredible." So all he said is he didn't give me details. He's like, "Here's a gold ticket. Come back at 3 o'clock and we'll talk more then." Like,
I'd be like,
okay.
"Sign your name on this dotted line. You're gonna look my
I know.
stuff." Like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
How
it
many
was
people were at the first pitch,
let's see, there
roughly?
was I think there was like 5 people,
Still a
5 or
lot.
6.
Like, that's so
Yeah.
many brains in a room that are like looking at you. That's a lot of people. And then to go from that to one, that's pretty drastic. I'm sorry, but it is. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're intimate now. Like it's right here. So,
Right.
wow, okay. Awesome. So then
Yeah.
what happened after that? You get this golden ticket. Now, question.
Yes.
Did you walk out of the room like they do on like American Idol and you're like, I got a golden ticket and everyone screams? Or did you like slide it in because you're like, I don't want to hurt other people's feelings if they like what did you do? Were other people
Well,
around?
yeah, I mean, some people, but they have you on, like, a completely separate floor of the building where the pitches
Oh.
happen, so you're not even, like, around some of the other people unless they happen to be on the same floor pitching in another room. So really the only other people that were, like, out in the hallway were other Lowe's executives and staff, and so they saw it and they're like, "Woohoo, way to go," and I was like, thank you." And they give you, like, a little ribbon to put on your name tag that says, like, golden ticket holder or whatever, so
Stop.
it's pretty loud and clear, like, if you got a golden ticket. And, I will never forget because like, we walked into the elevator right after that, and there was one other gentleman that he just looked like he got hit with a truck, and so my partner, Mike, he's like, "How'd it go?" And he's like, "Well, they said maybe again next year," and I was like, "Oh," and I looked at his name tag because it shows, like, where you're from or where you traveled from, and he had come all the way from India, and I was like, "Dude, that sucks, man," like, and he said this was his 2nd year here, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, you're spending thousands of dollars just to
Mhm.
get on a plane to come here, and you're walking away with nothing again."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, man." And then I'm internally, like, super excited because I had just gotten a golden ticket, was
Yeah.
like, "I wanna celebrate selfishly."
Well, you should want to. Like, first of all, that's an
Yes.
amazing thing. And that sucks that like I mean, they do say like people like him, like
Yeah.
when that happens, like multiple times, it's gonna hit. Like he's not giving up.
Mhm.
That's the best part. Like that he didn't give up, and he's been back there. So wow.
Yeah, and my partner Mike, he has like 30 plus years of experience in manufacturing, bringing products to the market, and they even have their own products that they invented and brought to the market as well. And so he understands the space of being
Mhm.
in the merchandising and pitching to buyers. And the whole time that we were there, he's like, "Billy, this never happens. This never happens." He's like, "I feel like I'm on that TV show Punked because, like, where are the cameras? This is not real life." He's like, "First of all, everybody that we've interacted with through Lowe's has just been extremely kind and so nice." And he's like, "Anytime I've been to a buyer meeting," he's like, "it's the opposite. Everybody has this insane, thick ego that they are the best in the world." And he's like, "That is not the case here. Everybody is just like, so incredible. They're hyping everybody up. They're just like amazed at all these products and what's coming in and out of the door, and they want to talk to you." He's like, "That's a big deal, is that they want to talk to you and they want to see what you're working on." And I was like, "Okay, cool," like, this is very validating that like my partner who has been in this space for years is saying
Yeah.
like, "This doesn't happen, that you clearly have something going on here if this many people are hyped about it."
It's so awesome. Like seriously, congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
proud of you for everything you've been doing. And it looks so good too, by the way. Like when you shared some of the pictures and videos and I've been seeing people posting about theirs and talking about so good. I cannot wait to get mine.
Yes.
Weirdly, because I pre-ordered everyone. So if you haven't pre-ordered, get on the website and go do it. And it's down in the description. Don't waste your time. Let's go. I mean, it will be in Lowe's, but we don't know right now when. So get one now. Like,
Yeah.
don't wait for Lowe's. Get one now. So
Yes, if you go to the website, it's repaintstudios.com, and then you can go and pre-order, and those pre-orders will be shipped out at the end of January. Otherwise, yeah, we're not sure what the terms are going to look like with Lowe's, but we should be in stores, sometime this year. But
which is
one more
awesome.
quick story
Yes,
is,
yes.
so when they had me come back at 3 o'clock
Yep.
with the gold ticket, there was myself and one other group that was there, and this is kind of when they were announcing like, who won, quote unquote, and like what that looks like. And so, I mean, there was like tons of Lowe's executives in this room, and I wish I could have filmed it, but we're all standing there, and the guy that I had pitched to last, he was kind of talking, and he had started with the other group, and they're like, you got a great product. I think it's, we got something going here. And, so we're going to put you in like 200 of our stores, which they have like over 1,500 stores for
Mhm.
Lowe's. And then he turns and looks at me and he's like, "But Billy," he's like, "You've got something here, and I don't even know how to explain it." But he's like, "I've talked to so many other people that have been on the floor, and every product that it comes back to is yours that everybody's talking about, and they're excited for it." And he's like, "I really think you've got something here, and so we're gonna put in $100,000 purchase order and put your tray in all of our stores and online."
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy moly, and I just about, like, started crying, and I again, like, I looked over at my partner, Mike, and he's like, "This doesn't happen."
So you're like
He was
he's like, "I'm telling you, this doesn't
I
happen."
I know. It was just wild, and so, like, everybody was clapping, and it was, like, such a surreal moment that, like, everything that I'd been working for just, like, came down to this moment that people that didn't even know who I was and had just met me that day were just so proud of me, and it was, oh my gosh, so validating. It was
I'm
amazing.
crying, literally crying. I'm so happy. Like, and that actually like makes me happy that there's really good in humanity still. Like
Yes.
everyone's strangers, everyone's cheering each other on. Lowe's themselves were super kind. That is amazing. And I
Yeah,
just love that. And of course you deserve that. 1,500 stores? Are you kidding me? Oh,
I know. It's so wild to even think about.
oh my gosh. And you took pictures at the Lowe's or whatever, one of the Lowe's. I loved that, first of all. I was like,
Yeah.
genius. Like,
Oh, yeah, I needed to, like, show them what it was gonna look like on the shelf, like, "Can't you visualize it? Like, see, the
oh, you put
green
that in your
stands out."
pitch?
Oh, yeah, I put that picture
That's
in the pitch.
gold.
I was
That
just
right there.
like, "Look, like, everybody is calling you out in my video saying, like, 'Lowe's, get on it, like, where is this?'" And so I had to show them, like, "Hey, here's the social proof, like, people are already tagging Lowe's in a product that doesn't exist yet, and they want it on your shelves. So, like, what are you gonna do about it?"
You're such a badass. That's amazing. I love that. And didn't you get someone at Lowe's to like type it out for you? Like
Well,
a
so
little
I had
sticker?
one really funny story is so I had talked about how I had applied for this pitch competition, and somebody mistakenly thought that I was already in Lowe's. And so somebody went to our local Lowe's here and they were like, "Hey, I need a repaint tray." And let's see, his name is Scott. Scott, he was like the paint manager, and he's like, "What is that?" I don't know what that is. And they're like, "Yeah, it's like this reusable paint tray." And he's like, "I've never heard of such a thing." And, when my husband went to go pick up that online order that I had placed, he's like, "I'm just gonna pop over to the paint department and just, like, see who's there," you know? So, he ended up talking to Scott and was like, "Hey, my wife's working on this thing, yada, yada." And Scott's like, "No way, that's your wife?" And Holden, my husband, he's like, "Yeah, do you know her?" And he's like, "No, but somebody came in asking for the repaint tray, and I had no idea who it was." And I was like, "What on earth is happening?" And so Holden came home and told me this whole story, and so he's like, "You better get down to Lowe's and go talk to this guy." And so once I got all my samples in, I went down there and I brought it in and I was like, "Hey, Scott, like, you remember me? Like, I'm the repaint lady with the reusable paint tray." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, like, I've been waiting to meet you." It was such a cool experience. And so he took a picture with the tray. I put it on the shelf and he's like, "I'm gonna send some emails."
This is before
uh,
the pitch?
this was before the pitch.
Oh
This had
my
all
god.
happened.
Yeah,
So I
that's
was like, "Can I
amazing.
put you in my pitch?" Like showing like, "Hey, there's even, boots on the ground people at Lowe's that are hearing about this." And he's like, "Yeah, by all means, like I definitely need to send some emails to some people that I know because this is amazing." And it was so cool. So I put it in the pitch and kind of had put his saying how he was like, "Yeah, if Lowe's does not take this on, like they're stupid."
Oh my gosh. I This is the coolest. I love these stories. It is such a cool thing. And all of your journey, and like, it has got to feel so good. All of the hard work you've done over the past X amount of years to be able to be here now
Mhm.
and to get that first shipment in your hands. And like, you have the samples, you're getting them out to different people to try it out, and you're still selling them. You're doing it
Yes.
in Lowe's, yes, but you're still selling them on your own and all sorts of other great things.
Yeah, I mean, it's so nice to be able to just get it in other people's hands finally for them to use it and test it out because it's like everything that I've been sharing on social media is just what I'm saying, and people are taking my word for it. Like, I could have been completely lying about this product just to get it out there, and which I was not. Like, this is a great
Yes.
product. I use it all the time. And so now, like, that other people finally get to use it and test it out and, like, share it on their social media that they're like, okay, she wasn't kidding. Like, you do need to go use this product. Like, it's a complete game changer for saving your paint or doing these projects. It's just so nice because then I'm like, awesome. I don't have to be the only one that has to like shout this from the rooftop, that other people can share how cool of a product this is too.
It's so cool. I'm so excited. And it was kind of funny because when you said, okay, it's going to be like February, I'm like, you know, that might be right around the time I'm going to need something because our remodel's going to be done. And I'm like, I don't have any like accent walls in this house. Maybe I should
Yep.
make an accent wall. So,
There you
um,
go.
because our drywall paints all my stuff for us, like just simple. And then I'll do something later with it because I used to paint all the time when I was in college. So I was on the painting crew, by the way.
Nice.
So your girl over here, I don't like to roll. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a big roller. I am totally a trimmer. But I do like your new video that you just posted about like the little pieces are hard to get and you just start crinkling it and then it just comes. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait to try that because that's the worst part. You can't get those little guys out and you're like, oh, I got this. So
Yeah.
real quick to wrap up, can you also share, you did in the last episode, but can you also share if something were to happen to it, your whole like sustainability side, because I think that is, in my opinion, one of my favorite things about the whole thing. And it's just in the, and also you've connected me with some new people now too. So I'm like,
Yeah.
we need to talk about it.
Yeah, so we have a recycling program or a take back program. So when I created this product, I wanted to make sure that was going to come full circle, not just reduce plastic in landfills and also make people's life easier, but I needed to figure out, okay, what does somebody do with this product, with the repaint tray when it hits the end of its life or somebody damages it? And so I found a recycling company that recycles silicone parts or damaged parts. So if you damage your liner or lid, you just send us a message through our website, and we will take your repaint liner or lid back to be properly recycled. And then those recycled silicone parts are then made into the rubber surfacing for inclusive playgrounds for children with disabilities. And I'm so excited about that because there's just not enough accessibility in this world, let alone for children, and they totally deserve to play. Like,
Mm-hmm.
kids should not have to sit on the blacktop watching their friends play on the playground
Mm-hmm.
without them.
Oh,
So I'm just like so excited for that to be able to come full circle. And then if you do recycle it with us properly, then we'll send you a discount code so you can go purchase a new repaint liner or lid or full tray system so you can get back to painting.
I love that. And you can buy those separately
I will be releasing them separately. I'll
at
be
some
able
point.
to yeah, ship
Okay.
out just like a replacement liner or replacement lid if it does become damaged. So we're
I
working
love
on those
that.
packages.
I love that. I mean, obviously that's down the road, but just in
Yeah.
general, like I love that that is something that you've been thinking about moving forward and everything like that. So
Oh
I
yeah.
love it. I actually have an email from the nice lady that you connected me with. I have to check it. Uh, but I'm hoping to have them on here as well.
Yes.
So we'll be talking more about that. I think it's just so awesome and incredible and just again really business responsible to be thinking about all the sides of everything.
Mhm.
And you've done such a great job with that. And I would assume Lowe's was very impressed by that as well. And talking about that part of it, did talk about that with them?
Yeah, and Lowe's, part of their mission is to have 100% of their suppliers or vendors have sustainability goals or practices in place. So it's exciting to say that I'm going to be part of that percentage.
That's amazing. You're gonna be a huge part of that percentage, first of all. I mean, we don't, I mean, let's be real. I'm not looking for trays to be ruined, but if something happens, because things can easily, you
Hmm.
drop a hammer, okay? It happens. And so I don't know why you'd have a hammer when you're painting, but you never know.
Right.
And so something can happen, but the fact that you have an option instead of it going into a landfill or going into a burn barrel or anything like that, that you can actually send it and it's going to do something even better, which is
Right.
awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
painting is
and
great, but oof.
I know. And I will say, like, the repaint tray is not compatible with all paints, And so that's where it could easily become damaged if somebody's using, some type of solvent that's really chemical heavy. That is where it could
Sure.
ruin the tray and like warp it. So you stay away from oil-based paints.
Okay.
Anything oil-based is what's going to really warp the tray, but pretty much anything else where it's like latex, water, or acrylic-based paints, those all work fantastic. Chalk paint, milk paint, you can also use it with wood glue and Mod Podge. And there's so many
Oh,
other paints that you can use with it. It's just anything oil-based where it's really chemical fume heavy is definitely stay away from
which
those.
many people try to stay away from those anyways,
Exactly.
because we should be, just in general for our own lungs and things and the earth. But thank
Yes.
you so much for coming on today and such short notice and all the things. But I wanted to get this out here before everything is going in January or February. Yeah, right?
Yes,
What are we?
February 1st.
So February 1st, like you're gonna be good to go. Like someone orders it, and it's gonna be shipped out.
Immediately.
Stop.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. But if you've pre-ordered, you'll get it before then.
I cannot wait. I'm literally gonna tell my husband when he gets home, be like, I know we have the guy painting our remodel area, but I think we're gonna have to have like a little accent wall somewhere.
Yep.
So,
Do it.
or at the very minimum, I can totally repaint upstairs because that hasn't been touched in a long time. So let's be real. I have places and I'm super excited to use it. And also, not put everything away. That's also what I'm
Yes.
excited about. Let's
I know.
put the top on, push it away for a while, come back to it. And we should just real quick talk about that. Can you
Yeah.
just quick talk about that?
Yes. And so the repaint tray has a reusable lid and an airtight lid. So this is like my favorite feature, especially being a parent and like needing to take care of kids or set things aside or whatever it is, or I've been painting late and I just want to go to bed. So you just put your supplies in there and you snap on the lid. And the best way to keep it fresh is usually take out the roller because it'll have a better airtight seal, but it's fine in there for a couple days. You kind of lift the lip on the side and then you push down on the middle and it kind of pushes
Yeah.
out the air and then you close it again and it keeps this airtight seal all the way around your paint tray so that way it keeps your paint fresh. It's guaranteed to keep your paint fresh up to 21 days with an airtight proper seal, and it is a freaking game changer because you could pour paint in it, go on vacation and come back and get back to painting. I
I
love
love it.
it.
I love that. Honestly, that's so awesome. And we talked about it in the last episode. It's gonna be great for my ADHD friends, like
Yes.
you try, and I'm not just poking fun at all, like legitimately, you're doing something, you get sidetracked. I do that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, someone called and I need to do this now. Let's just put this aside. Or like you said, I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I don't want to deal with this right now. And
Mhm.
clean it all up, put it in there, put the top on. It is beautiful, first of all. The thing is awesome.
Thank
And
you.
so I'm super excited to get it. I cannot wait. It's going to have a special place in our, where am I going to put it? Oh my God, I'm going to have to find somewhere really good to put it. I don't know if I want to put it in the garage. I got to put it somewhere cool. So we'll see. I'll have to figure that
Okay.
out. We're doing a remodel. Maybe I'll have a specific place for the paint tray. Yeah.
There we go.
I'll find a place exactly for that.
It
For our
doesn't need to go in your fridge. There
in
you
our
go.
that's the other you remembered. Speaking of the fridge, guys, back in the day, I would take like my roller or my paintbrush and then put a little plastic bag, which is terrible, around it and then put it in the fridge and then I could use it the next day. I don't have to do that now. So,
Nope.
yay me. Um but yeah, I'm so excited for you. This is so again, congratulations. Thank you for coming on and chatting about this again. This episode will be coming out sooner than later, as in what day is it today? I don't even know.
Monday,
Is it
the
Monday?
15th.
Just like what day? Probably next week. So again, I'm so excited. All the links will be below. Go check out what Billie's doing. If you guys know of anyone that should be getting this into their stores or anywhere else, connect with her, please, because it needs to be in stores, in front of people, all the people. I've already talked to a bunch of my paint people, my paint friends, and they're like,
Nice.
well, when you get it, can you show it to me? It's like an older guy. So it's not like he's on the internets. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, here, look at this, dude. I'm gonna show it to him. And he does tons of painting for big corporate businesses. So
Cool. I love it.
working, and his daughter's really cool. So I'm like, and she works with him. So I'm like, girl, help a girl out. She's in the Midwest. Let's do this. And she's like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's look at it. I cannot wait for it to come. And I'm so excited. I'm just so happy for you.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you.
And thanks. And I'm so glad we connected. And I can't wait to meet in person when we hang
Yes.
out because we're not that far.
I know. We gotta make that happen.
I know. I know. Well, things are crazy. It's okay. We will make it happen.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I haven't been to Iowa in a long time. Maybe I should come
There's
down,
not much you're not missing
come
much.
down to Iowa.
I'll come back. I'll come to Wisconsin.
Let's go
I'll
to
help you with your
Madison.
painting. Yeah.
Let's,
Oh, yeah.
let's
I'm
go to
down for
Madison.
Madison.
Okay, that's not too bad. But yeah, I'm like, Iowa sounds fun. It's like me though up
Des
here
Moines
though.
is not bad.
No, you're right. You're right. But like for me, like someone's like, oh, let's go to the middle of nowhere. Sounds cool.
Yeah.
Not many. Not many
Yeah.
people.
No.
Unless you and your kids want to come to Jellystone, then we can make that happen this summer.
Yes.
So
Okay, let's do it.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Billie. Everything, all the links will be there. And please go listen to the other episode as well, because it's really good. So go listen to that. And thank you. Oh, it's been so fun. We got to do this more often.
Thank you.
Have a great day and we'll talk soon.